All right, so welcome back to another episode of Mistaken Identity Beyond the Ballpark. Another person that I've been trying to get for a long time, who is finally here with us. And this is the day after an insane night game. Marissa, how's it going?
It's good. It's better than last night.
Yes, I've never experienced anything like that ever, ever, ever. But let me first ask, for people that don't know, you don't live in the city, you have a very long commute. Where are you exactly? And how long does it take you to get to and from the ballpark?
That's a difficult question. I'm in Palatine and
Okay.
I live very close to the highway, so I could just hop on. No traffic, 35 minutes.
Okay.
Traffic, it's taken 2 hours before.
So on a typical weekend night game or a concert where we're done like around 11 or whatever, you get home at what, 1 a.m.?
Usually at night for night games or like after shows, there's not much going on, especially by the
Okay.
time we get out of there. So I get home pretty quickly, but if it's like a Friday day game, it takes me a while to get down there. And it takes me a while to get home. Or if it's a weekday night game
Okay.
and we start at 4:15, it'll take me a little bit of time to get there.
Okay. So I need to get down to the hard hitting question before I get to the other question. This is the question this is the big one. It's about the Bachelor and the Bachelorette. Now, I personally don't see how anybody could watch that show because to me, I think it's all scripted, all predetermined, pre-planned. But from what I understand, you are a big fan of those shows. So we're gonna have a discussion, and maybe you can convince me why this show is actually any good. So go ahead, tell me first of all, how did you get into it, and why are you a fan of those shows?
I will start by saying I haven't watched this season at all, so don't know anything that's going on. I just haven't had time. But in the past, it's just friends have been watching it, and it's something that we'll watch together. We'll sit around and watch the show and enjoy it together. But it's interesting. Even if it might be scripted, we know that. But what
So
show?
it is, but it is scripted though. Like it is pre-planned.
I don't know. I
Okay, okay.
don't know. But if it might
Mhm.
be scripted, it's still so interesting to see how these people interact. And if you just think about, wow, this one man is dating 30 women, uh, and like the time frame of it all too. How does
Yeah,
this happen so quickly? And then you have to think, what happens when they're not recording?
yeah.
And what they're piecing together. And a lot of times I know that they like record things and they put what happened last first. So it makes it more dramatic for you. It's just
Now,
interesting to
but
me.
do now because I feel like if a man, if I came to you and said, Marissa, I just got done dating 30 people, 30 women at the same time, you would think that I'm crazy, I'm some kind of creep, or you think I would be insane. But like it's okay for this show. I just like now to me, I feel like it's a show that is probably uh taped over several months, but it's compacted into this small amount of time. Is that what it is?
I think so.
And there's
Yeah.
no and there's no like there's no sex involved, right? There's no it's like all like platonic pretty much, right? And they're not like sleeping together.
Well, so the show is happening. It happens before and then before it's aired, and they all have to keep it pretty hush hush. Like all of the contestants, I guess, don't really post on social media until things have been brought up. So like they'll go on a date, and then after the date airs on TV, they'll post it on social media. In regards to like intimacy, when it gets to the end of the season, they have the opportunity to go to a fantasy suite. The
Oh,
person that's like dating everyone
yeah.
can either invite them to the fantasy suite or not. We don't really know what happens there,
Okay.
but
Interesting.
it's meant to allow them to spend the night together and have them have like a more intimate relationship and further their relationship. But again, don't know what happens there. Don't know if they just walk in together and film it and then they just turn around and walk on out.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll never know, but
So do you have a favorite episode or a favorite season that you thought was just like the best couple ever or the best return? I'm just curious.
I don't. I think that every season brings its own unique characters.
Okay.
And there's some people that go on the show and you just wonder how. And not only that, they share their jobs. So their name comes up underneath their picture when they're being interviewed and it says their job title. And it's just so interesting to me to see what these people actually do for a living.
Yeah.
Or what they claim to do. And what weird title they could come up with for it. And then I always think, how did you get this much time off of work?
Good. I never thought about that. Never thought about that. But do they actually get married? I mean, are people together, or is this for the fame of being on TV?
That's an issue that's brought up in the show a lot. Like, are you just here for the fame or are you here to find love? And that conversation comes up a lot. And sometimes it starts drama because some people will be saying, oh, they're just here to become famous. They're not really here for the right reasons. And then it just drama is what the show thrives on.
Yeah, now I talked to you earlier because the show that I do watch, or I did watch a lot, was Big Brother. Like, I can get with that. I feel like, and you're still only getting to see when they're arguing and fighting, but I feel like that to me makes more sense. Like putting everybody in the house. In fact, I think it'd be cool to have all the supervisors living in a house together for like a week. That'd be awesome. Can you imagine all of us in the house together? Jonas and Floyd and you, and can you just imagine all of us in the house together? Rahat and Erica and Steve and Feingo for a week? Wouldn't that be cool to watch?
Big Brother Cub Supervisor Edition.
I think that we would all drive each other crazy by day 3.
But then imagine the competitions that you have to go through, and if they're the physical competitions or whatever the competition may be, and just imagine us, the group of who we are right now, competing against each other.
Yeah. I think I just got an idea for next year. But anyway, let me go back to you now. So let's talk about you. So most people may not know that you are a teacher. Tell us about that and why you chose that.
Tomorrow, I actually begin my 7th year teaching.
I would have never guessed 7 years. I would have never guessed. You look like you're 21. I would never guess.
Thank you. Yeah, tomorrow is the first day of my 7th year teaching, and it was never planned to be this way. When I decided to go to school, I thought I wanted to go into nursing. Right. Because everyone told me, you don't want to be a teacher. You don't make any money. It's a difficult job. And I said, why am I listening to what these other people are telling me? I need to be my own person. I need to go through what I want to go through. And I actually went into it because I had some really wonderful teachers. I had some teachers in high school that changed my life and made me who I am today. But I also had the opposite. Okay. And I know I'm only one person, but if I can be that one person to change somebody and to make them enjoy school and want to be a teacher or want to grow into a better person, then that's what I'm doing. If I just reach one person in my whole career teaching, that matters the most to me and that makes the most difference.
Now, what grade do you teach or what subject do you teach?
I teach 7th grade literature and language arts.
Now, how did you decide on that?
I actually was thrown into it. Okay. I went to college to teach high school social studies. My degree is in 9th through 12th grade social sciences. So history, psychology, sociology, geography, government, all of that. And I took one class and they said, okay, you could teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade too. And when I went to apply for student teaching, I was given an opportunity at a fabulous school in the Northwest suburbs, close to home, 10 minutes from where I grew up. And they said, but you have to want to be in middle school. I had never stepped foot in a middle school before since I was in middle school. I didn't have any clinical experience in middle school. Middle schoolers scared me. And I was thrown into a middle school for student teaching. And after my experience student teaching, I said, I'm never leaving middle school. I don't want to teach high school anymore. I want to stay here.
Right. Okay. Now, does teaching, any of that experience roll over into your job at Wrigley? Like, does any of that relate at all, or is it completely opposite?
Oh my goodness. It's basically like a classroom out there. Like these grown adults have the same attitudes and energies as my middle schoolers. They've just had a little more beer.
Right. Okay. All right. Now, tell me about Wrigley. How did you find out about the Cub job in the beginning to begin with? How did you even find out about it? What was that like? Were you a Cubs fan? How did that work?
So I was a Cubs fan, but I never even knew that this job was a thing. I went to DePaul for 5 years.
Okay.
I lived a mile away from Wrigley Field, had no idea that this was an option. I went to Cubs games while I lived there, and I went to Cubs games growing up, but I was teaching in Morton Grove, and one of my coworkers at the school in Morton Grove worked for the Cubs.
Okay.
And she was a guest service ambassador. And then the next year she moved to Premier, and she said, just apply.
Okay.
And I applied to be a GSA. And then in my interview, a NEET asked me, she was like, would you think about doing security? And I was like, I'm 5'4". Like this is who I am. Would I do security? And she was like, I do security. So I said, sure. Yeah, why not? And then I became security, and I'm so happy that although I applied as a GSA, I became an SSA.
Okay. Now, I ask people this all the time, because it happened to me. When you got the call that you were going to be a supervisor, did you cry?
I didn't cry because I was in a room full of people.
Okay.
But I remember it like so clearly. I was sitting there. We were doing state testing at school that day, and I was on break. My kids were in a classroom. Somebody else was watching them. I was on break. I was in a room full of like our school counselor, psychologist, social worker, my entire team. And I'm like, why is Sam Thrower calling me? I was like, oh, I know why she's calling me. And I'm like shaking, and my heart's racing, and I answer the call, and I honestly don't even remember what was said.
Okay. All right. Now, do you remember where you were and what you were doing when the Cubs won the World Series?
I do. I was alone.
Okay.
I'm very like superstitious almost during that time. All the games, all of the like postseason games that I was watching, if I was watching them in a certain place, the Cubs would lose.
Okay.
If I was watching them alone, the Cubs would win. I was living with my parents at the time. And if I was sitting upstairs on the couch, the Cubs would lose. If I was sitting downstairs in the basement alone, they would win. Okay. So I was student teaching at the time when the Cubs won the World Series. And my dad called me that morning. He's like, I'm going to Cleveland. Can you watch the dog tonight?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my stepsister was upstairs. My family, my dad and stepmom were in Cleveland. And I was sitting on the couch in the basement with the dog alone.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And I had to teach the next day, and I was student teaching, and I was student teaching sixth graders, and it was stressful. It was almost conferences. I was brand new to it. And I was like, I need a shower. It's late. I need a shower. Then we go into a rain delay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm showering during this rain delay. Like, I don't know how long it's going to be, but I need to shower. And as soon as I stepped out of the shower, the game started again.
Okay.
And I sat there and I watched the end of the game, and just, I cried.
Okay.
And it was very emotional, but I was just sitting there, me and the dog, sitting there watching the Cubs make history.
Now, were you an employee then, or you hadn't started yet?
I hadn't started yet. I started 2 years later.
Ah, so you're waiting for a ring now. That's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, hopefully one day. I guess I just sit on the couch and watch with the dog that time. I can't work it.
Yes. Now let's say that. Now, what type of music do you listen to?
What type of music?
Yes.
I listen to a wide range of music. I don't really like stick to one genre.
Okay. Now, better question. Let's say that you got to design your own Wrigley Field concert, and you could pick all the acts. It's totally up to you to pick the acts for a Wrigley Field concert. What would your lineup be?
This is interesting because I love going to like mellow concerts. So
Okay.
the Lumineers coming in September is my dream. It's
Really?
a
I don't know who they even are. So that's good to hear. Somebody can tell me.
I'm gonna today at work,
Okay.
I'm gonna show you. I
Okay.
saw them right before the shutdown with COVID. They're a dream to watch. It's a
Okay.
mellow crowd. You're sitting there, you're just enjoying the music, you're enjoying the atmosphere. That is honestly probably one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen. But at the same time, some of my other favorite shows that I've seen have been like hip hop music. I'm really excited. Like I'm going to see Kid Cudi at the United
I
Center.
love him. Yes, I love him.
I'm seeing him in September at the United Center
Okay.
after a game. We have a game, then Kid Cudi. I'm just thinking like now that I'm going to all these concerts, but have worked concerts at Wrigley, how amazing it would be to have him at our venue.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. Yeah.
That would be the coolest thing. And then the next night, actually, I think Kid Cudi's on Friday and then Black Bear is on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's at the Aragon. And just like, what if we put the two of them together?
Right. Right.
At Wrigley Field, my favorite place.
Right.
I just think it would be unbelievable.
Okay. All right. Now, do you have any favorite foods or first of all, can you cook? First of all, can you cook?
I love cooking. I cook all the time. Sometimes I'm lazy and have popcorn for dinner.
So what are your favorite things to cook though? What are your favorite things to cook?
I really like cooking salmon.
I love salmon. Okay.
I have one of my really good friends gave me this like salmon rub recipe. And I make that all the time, but I also like experimenting with like different things to make the salmon taste less fishy.
Like what? How do you do that?
Make the salmon taste less fishy? It's all about the seasoning.
Okay, interesting. Now, do you have favorite places to go eat at? Like favorite restaurants?
I like going to different restaurants. I'm not somebody that likes to go to the same place more than once.
So you don't go to Cane's like I do every week.
I can't eat Cane's anymore. I really can't. It's just I was so excited when Cane's came to Wrigley, and then I had it like 4 days in a row. Can't do it anymore.
Well, we're getting a Culver's across the street over there by Starbucks.
Really?
Yes, we're getting at some point. So that'd be pretty cool. Yes.
The options are they're boring at this point.
Yeah. We have them all the time. Yes. Yes.
But Cane's is wonderful, but I like switching it up. I go to so many different restaurants all the time, and I love finding new places to go to.
It's funny, you can't see this at all, but when we started the interview, I'm in my living room. I have the window open. I saw the census taker as she came when I pushed play. She was recording, and she's been standing outside my doorway, waiting for me to open the door for the census, which I can do online. It's just funny that she's still there. But anyway, so you're going to Club 400 for the first time, the supervisor party. Are you familiar with Club 100? Have you seen pictures of it? Like, are you anticipating what's going to happen? What's going to go on?
I've seen pictures of it.
Okay.
I think I like follow their Facebook page.
Okay.
And I saw the pictures from the supervisor party last year, and I figured like we would have the game on in the background. It's like a 1 o'clock game or something. But then yesterday, when you were asked, "What are we doing?"
Right.
And you're like, "I don't know." I was just like, "Okay, well, I have no idea what to expect. What are we gonna do? There's gonna be food. There's gonna be drinks. There's gonna be
So this year I'm actually participating in it. So last year I planned it fully from the beginning to the end. But I didn't get to, I was working, running around doing this, running around doing that. So I didn't get to enjoy it at all. And we have former Cubs coming this year. So I'm like, Club 400, you all sort of put it together so that way I can attend. I don't have to be there early. I can leave when you all leave, get there when you all get there. So that's why I don't know fully what's going on. But I guarantee you that when you walk into this house, you just take the first step downstairs, you're gonna be in awe of how much stuff from the Cubs he has in his. It's like a mini mansion, but you're gonna be impressed by how much stuff is down
I'm really excited to see it. I mean, it has my little collection of like 4 bobbleheads, and
there.
I think I have like from when we used to do the token thing. I have a signed ball back there.
Is that a guitar? You play guitar?
No, that's not mine.
Oh, like
That
oh,
is
like
not
Jonas
mine.
does. Okay, we're trying to get Jonas. Trying to hook up Jonas with Sam and Morgan to play the national anthem at Wrigley Field. Did you know he can play that? Did you know he plays it really, really well?
I knew that
Yeah.
he was a musician.
Yeah. So we're trying to get we're working right now with Morgan and Sam to get him to play the national anthem at Wrigley. Because he played Amazing Grace for me. I'm like, this is amazing. So obviously I can't keep things to myself. So I told Sam, and here we go, try to get Jonas there. But for my last 5 minutes, I usually give my guests the opportunity to ask me one question. So do you have one question for me?
You warned me that I was going to ask you a question, and I didn't even prepare.
I was
And
hoping
now
that you
I'm
didn't
on-
ask Jordan last night. I'm like, please don't ask Jordan. I'm hoping that you didn't ask.
it honestly slipped my mind. It was so busy last night, and
It
it's been
was.
so crazy.
Listen, it was so busy yesterday to me before I even got to the pictures. I forgot that Jordan was even there. So when I was out doing an ejection and I walked past, he goes, Frank, you didn't say hi to me, you know I was here. I'm like, I didn't even know you were here. And then he goes, Marissa said you told her that I was here. I'm like, I did. I completely forgot. So thanks, Marissa.
Well, no, I told him that I told you better not steal him
I
from me.
know. I'm like, I didn't even know you were here today. He goes, Marissa said you knew I was here today.
All right, I'm gonna have to have a talk with him tonight now.
Yeah, any question for me? Anyone?
Maybe I'm not like super familiar with the podcast. I haven't really listened to it a lot. What made you want to start it? What really sparked this?
So COVID, we didn't work for the whole year. And we had those Zoom sessions. So everybody was on Zoom, players and whatever. And we got to see people in their houses because of the background. And I'll never forget that one day we had Kyle Schwarber on, and it was a surprise. People didn't know. But it was I saw the screen of everybody. There was this one female, I can't think of her name, one female. As soon as she saw that it was Kyle Schwarber, she had on pajamas or whatever, she turned her screen black and left. And when she came back with the screen on, it was makeup, fully dressed. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is awesome. Like to see this side of people outside of work, it was cool. And then people said, we should keep it going because we were out of work for the whole year. There was just no work for us. And like, it's cool to get to know people outside of work. So that's what led into it. So it just started with the Zoom session with the players that we had. And it just moved from players to let's meet our staff outside of work. Once Julian Green and all of them said, hey, as long as it's not about baseball and it's personal, knock yourself out. Then it just kept going and got bigger and bigger. And like I did not know that Toya went into labor and almost had a baby on the terrace. I never knew that until the podcast. Never knew that. Didn't know that Mike Smith had 3 master degrees. Didn't know that Kathy had all those master degrees. Kathy Campbell, didn't know to the podcast. So that's my answer. The podcast came from that, but I'm learning so much about people that, I did not know that Margaret Wycombe lives in Massachusetts and flies back to Chicago each series for a game. Didn't know that. So that's how it came about. And now I feel like I can't stop because everybody wants to know who's next. Who's next? Who's next? So that's how it is. That's how I started. And I've been trying to get you for almost 2 seasons, right?
Yeah. Well, at first you wanted to do like a one with Colette, just talking about the
Yes.
Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Yes, yes. But better late than never. Anyway, Marissa, thank you. Ooh, right on time. Thank you very much. And I will see you tonight for part 2 of What Could Go Wrong at Night Game at Wrigley Field.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, all right. Have a good day.
You too.